New attractions set to open at the world-renowned Mandai Wildlife Reserve, including an eco-resort by a luxury hotel chain and a new park modelled after the rainforests of Africa. Let's take a closer look at the range of new activities and exhibits at Singapore's biggest ecotourism spot. Spanning some 126 hectares, the Wildlife Reserve will feature an eco-friendly resort and event space. Over at the west side, a new park will open, transporting visitors to animal habitats in Southeast Asia and Africa. Called Rainforest Wild, visitors can explore forest treks, cross streams, and even climb around the park. New species will also be introduced, from the Francois Langour monkey to the okapi or forest giraffe. The key highlight in this 220-metre cavern, inspired by the Mulu Caves in Sarawak. These massive rock formations will feature animals like cave racer snakes, scorpions, as well as hissing cockroaches. Parkgoers can also encounter species virtually through immersive spaces, while children can attend Zoo School. And that's a new program that exposes them to nature and wildlife through play. Later this year, a 3.3-kilometre boardwalk that's freely accessible to the public will be open. It'll go around the River Wonders and Singapore Zoo, offering up views of the Upper Seletar Reservoir. Visitors can even spend the night at the zoo in one of the 24 tree houses in the Banyan Group's new resort. With 338 rooms sitting amongst the lush forest, it'll be opened in the first half of next year. And let's explore Mandai's new attractions further with an expert on experiential tourism. Joining me tonight is Dr. Sin Hung Le. She is Senior Lecturer at the Singapore University of Social Sciences. Welcome to the program, Dr. Sin. It is good to see you.
Hi, Dawn.
So the different experiences and the additions that we're going to see, you've had a chance to take a look at this. So what are your first thoughts on it?
Well, I guess what I really like with the new plans is that there's a lot of public areas. So there's a lot of non-ticketed areas where locals like you and me, we can just hang out there. And hopefully that creates a new leisure space for people to go to. And it's not just a tourist attraction. What I also like is that there's going to be this rainforest-inspired park. Yeah. And if you look at the Mandai precinct, then you will know that the entire area is essentially a tropical rainforest. So having this rainforest-inspired park is, I think, something that try to keeps a little bit of that local identity, local flavour, and putting it into this new big development at Mandai.
Yeah, it is a delicate sort of process, isn't it, to be able to balance the needs of all of this, the construction of what we're seeing here. The Banyan Tree luxury brand, specifically, this has come up. It's being described as a 338-room, that's quite large, eco-resort that is offering guests, this opportunity to get closer to nature, right? Let's address the elephant in the room here, though. You're bringing hundreds of guests into a rainforest reserve with a development like that. How is that going to be, a positive development on our surroundings and on the climate?
So I think that's a very valid concern. And in fact, that was exactly what the scientific communities in Singapore, as well as the nature groups, flagged out from day one. So to Mandai Group's credit, they actually had engaged, they kind of quite actively engaged the scientific community as well as the nature groups. And there were a series of consultations that were done. I think it was in response to this public outcry when the project was first announced. There was a lot of anxiety about how it was going to be done. And after that, after the first series of consultations, there has been routine meetings, quarterly meetings with this group throughout the entire process. So I think that Mandai has done its due diligence to try to minimize environmental impact. And on the other hand, I suppose for me, I trust my biologists, ecologist friends to have really grilled Mandai hard and well to make sure that this project has minimal negative environmental impact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no pun intended. We would assume that they would have left no stone, not turned, right, to check for all the potential pitfalls here. Now, the Mandai Wildlife Reserve is, of course, a top zoo. It has been for years now, and it's a very treasured sort of a brand for us here in Singapore. How are these new additions going to make it any better, though, and specifically with this experiential tourism that they want to, sort of incorporate?
So, I think if you look, starting from the bird paradise, you already see a very profound shift in how the zoos are being shaped or imagined. In the past, I guess traditionally you would expect that a zoo is a place you sort of go in and gaze at an animal in a quite a passive way from a distance. With bird paradise, and actually starting even from fragile forest in a zoo earlier on, they have really tried to make it very immersive, where you go in, it's like bird paradise, essentially you're entering the aviary, right?
Yeah.
And you are actually having a very close contact. You can observe the animals up front, and you can sort of follow them around while attempting to do that, trying to make sure it's safe for the animals, for visitors as well. So I think with these sort of shifts, they have tried at first with fragile forest, which was a smaller scale, then with bird paradise, which is a lot bigger, and now with the rainforest, which is again bigger, and the resort. So I'm actually quite excited to see, what else they could do to rock our imaginations of what can be possible.
Yeah. I mean, and also, with as little stress as possible to the animals.
Yes.
I mean, the safety has to be there, but, these are wild animals living in captivity.
Yeah.
The stress is there as well. I mean, that cannot be escaped.
Yes.
There's a lot of competition for this sector and for tourism and for this region in any case. I mean, we're earning lots of tourist dollars from our zoo, and now we want it to be more sustainable than ever. With so many eco experiences and more coming to choose from, what kind of tourism or tourist are we expecting to attract in all of this?
So I guess the biggest market still will be families, especially families with young children. So that has actually originally has always been the zoo's main clientele. And so families with young children, not just tourists, but also locals. And so I think that would likely continue as well. Yeah, it's just on a much bigger scale because now there's the capacity to take in a lot more visitors than ever before.
Yeah, and with the zoo, I mean, even for for the past few decades, I mean, since its inception, really, repeat visitors are a big draw for the zoo. I mean, that's part of their revenue base, right? Can we expect that, do you think? I mean, would people from all over still, come back and say, oh, I've been to the zoo once in Singapore, do I have to go again? They might want to go again because it is so different.
Yeah, so I think for Mandai's offering, it's not so much that because it's ecotourism, therefore there's more or less repeat tourists. It's because it's the family tourism spot. Right. And if you think of family tourism, then parents generally like safe, secure, convenient, familiar places because it's pretty stressful to bring young children out. And for children, if you understand child psychology and child development, children love repetition. So if we successfully get into the hearts of some of these children that will come visit, in all likelihood, they will nag their parents non-stop to come back again. And then that's when we would have succeeded with having this kind of repeat visitors on a consistent basis, right? Yeah.
Dr. Sin, thank you very much for coming into the studios and sharing your thoughts with me on this. Dr. Sin Harng there from the Singapore University of Social Sciences.